Actually, you know, that brings me to Ben Thompson's great article in Stratechery today. Ben is really a great and insightful analyst. We've had him on many times on this show and on TWiT. His piece actually from yesterday, Manifestos and Monopolies, is his discussion of Mark Zuckerberg's 6,000-word screed on Facebook as to what the new Facebook mission statement was. Facebook went from a one-sentence mission statement to a 5,000-statement mission, 5,000 sentence. But the line here that I thought was very interesting is kind of germane to our speculation that Mark Zuckerberg might be, you know, interested in political office. And he points out that Zuckerberg, as the CEO of Facebook, has probably a much better bully pulpit than any president. Let me read you the paragraph. Given this reality, Ben Thompson writes, why would Zuckerberg want to be president? He's not only CEO of Facebook, he's the dominant shareholder as well, answerable to no one. His power and ability to influence is greater than any president, subject to political reality and checks and balances. Besides, as Zuckerberg made clear last week, his concern is not a mere country, but rather the entire world. In other words, so he's president of the globe.
Yeah, I put like 4 more reactions to Zuckerberg's essay on the rundown, and they all pissed me off. Because if Zuck if he sat back and just said, you know, I just run a business, I don't give a crap about the world. Sorry about that. You know, that's all I do is run a business. To heck with all you all. Then we'd be smashing them like crazy.
That's kind of what he said all along when he, you know, kind of sheepishly and self-deprecatingly said, "Oh, we didn't change the results of the election.
But he's always
we don't have that much power."
Yeah, but he's always said he cares about a connected world, and a connected world's a better world. He's always had that mission. Right. And so now he goes into more depth about it and more detail about what he wants to do and where he thinks he can help, and everybody smashes him. They smashed him for trying to take over the world. That was one theme. And the other theme, of course, was journalists feeling terribly entitled. Emily Bell at Columbia, I thought, was demanding that all the tech companies.
Yeah.
I didn't begin. All the tech companies should give $1 billion each to some fund to pay for journalists. No, they should be helping us strategically. And Steve Waldman, who's a friend of mine, wrote a piece in the New York Times saying basically the same thing. And I'm tearing my hair out because then somebody else just wrote a piece, who's I'm suddenly forgetting who, Charlie Beckett from London School of Economics wrote a piece saying, whoa, if you're going to demand they give away money, which is pretty cheeky as is, why should they give it away to journalism? Why not health? Why not saving lives? Why not other things? You know, who's to say that we're so entitled and that they owe us anything? They don't owe journalism crap. They owe the public a lot, but they don't owe journalism anything.
Well, okay, so that aside, Zuckerberg, I tried to read the 6,000 word thing. It seemed like a lot of. Well, I couldn't quite get through the whole thing.
Stacey, did you make it?
No, 3/4 of the way. Whenever he started talking about civility, I was like, oh, stop.
She just screamed "F you" and stormed away.
It was a lot of. It was.
I said you need an editor.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
It did. It could have probably said the whole thing in a paragraph. And but what Ben Thompson points out is the global aspirations that Zuckerberg's talking about here, right? I mean, and of course that's Facebook is a global company. It's not an American company anymore. It's a global.
So was
company.
Exxon, you know. So is Walmart. So.
But I thought what I thought was interesting, and actually, the upshot of Ben's article is we should be worried about Facebook, and we should do what we can to reduce its growing influence. For instance, it should be prohibited, and I'm not sure I disagree with this, it should be prohibited from buying companies like WhatsApp and Instagram or any social media companies, because that just boosts its network, its graph.
We have laws about that. We have antitrust laws about that.
And it really is an antitrust, because he says, and it may be too late to stop Facebook at this point, because their social graph is so massive and everybody's in it that no one else can get a word in edgewise, in effect. And so anybody who does, like Instagram or WhatsApp, Facebook just goes, yeah, we'll take that. 22 billion, no big deal. And now when you are on Instagram, you're on Facebook. When you're on WhatsApp, you're on Facebook. Really?
And next week we'll have stories proclaiming that the Facebook's over. It's over. Everybody's on.
Well,
on Snapchat.
He's responding to that, though. And by the way, the article, I think there's a very good case to be made, and there's certainly numbers to back it up, that Snapchat, which is about to go public, Snap, is actually at its peak. And in fact, Instagram, as soon as they started doing stories, started to eat away at Snapchat's audience, and that Snapchat may be on the way out just because Instagram has the social graph. Stacey, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was actually just going to, everybody's always too big and no one else can get, like, once a company reaches a certain size, that's kind of an accepted argument. But I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but it's the Herfindahl-Hirschman index for, I know that applies to mobile companies, but has the FTC ever applied it to any social media M&A?
What is that? Tell us what that index is.
What's that? I don't know what that is.
Okay. It's a market share index. It's the only reason I know about it is because we talk about it a lot in wireless for like when the carriers are doing M&A. And I have no idea if it applies because I'm not an antitrust lawyer. So this would be the FTC and the U.S. Department of Justice, I guess.
It measures market concentration.
Yes.
It's calculated by squaring the market share of each firm competing in the market, then summing the resulting numbers. And actually, the Department of Justice uses this to pinpoint merger issues.
Well, and when you were talking about buying, I mean, because what you're essentially making is kind of an antitrust market power argument against these guys, right? In social media.
Yes.
And so if you can't buy, like to say, now the problem is these are private companies, so I don't think the DOJ gets a say.
But
I don't know.
Facebook's not private.
Yeah, Facebook's not private now. So this is something to pose to someone far smarter than I am, but I was just curious if there was a there or a way to prevent market power.
Thompson says it's terrifying. Given their power, he wrote this last year, given their power over what users see, Facebook could, if it choose, be the most potent political force in the world. Of course, it doesn't do that because, it becomes a real problem. There'll be a furor over this. And so Facebook has strong incentive not to become overtly political.
I was at a round table of media executives and Facebook last week. It was off the record, so I can't give any details. But I was I'm impressed about how careful Facebook is about that. And there were times when the funny thing about it was the media people were pushing Facebook, saying, people are wrong about that. Just correct them. Just do it. Just fix it. Just make them smarter. And Facebook's kind of saying
that can't do it.
Whoa, no. I mean, and
didn't the fake news argument rebound, by the way, in a very damaging way, and it's now being used incorrectly, in my opinion, to tar all media
by Donald Trump.
Yeah. It turned out to be.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was a little concerned about this sobriquet of false news because it had this little tint of, well, it's false news because it's against what I believe in. It was already had that seed, and now that seed has been planted and bloomed, and now anything's fake news that disagrees with me.
Exactly. So fake news. I said in a piece I wrote this week that we're stuck in a paradoxical loop.
We can't use that phrase anymore, I would submit.
Right? No, you can't at all.
It's
in fact, we never should
co-opted. We shouldn't
propaganda.
We shouldn't have
propaganda, lies, and fraud. There's three separate things. Propaganda, lies,
and fraud. That's good. I like it.
Claire Wardell, who's the head of the First Draft Coalition, is just brilliant. And it's a coalition of a bunch of news organizations. Google started funding it. Knight did. Facebook did. She put up, I don't have it, maybe I have it handy. She has a taxonomy of it's on Twitter. I meant to save it. She has a taxonomy of fakery, from simple mistakes up to full-fledged fraud, and different motives for each one. Yeah, fake news is ridiculous, and now it's used so that anything that one side disagrees with, it's just fake news.
Let me go on though. This is what Ben says. This is why going back to, as you said, Facebook's now very sensitive about not, about staying completely neutral. And really, as I've always said, its only motivation is the simple financial motivation to improve engagement. Of course, that leads to filter bubbles. But he says, this is why I read Zuckerberg's manifesto with such alarm. Zuckerberg not only gives his perspective on how the world is changing and, at least in passing, some small admission that Facebook's focus on engagement may have driven things like filter bubbles and fake news, but, and this is the worrisome part from Ben's point of view, for the first time explicitly commits Facebook to playing a central role in affecting that change in a manner that aligns with Zuckerberg's personal views of the world. It is a manifesto building global community based on Mark's personal vision of what the world should be.
Come on.
Okay, so that's like what every newspaper in the world is built on.
Exactly.
But these newspapers don't have the power that Facebook does.
At one point in time, they did.
Well, I know. I mean, Hearst was able to start the Spanish-American War. There is no such
thing as objective anything. I mean, if we're talking about humans, there's no such thing as objective.
But in the old days, there at least were multiple newspapers and multiple voices.
And Facebook enables more voices than we've ever had in the history of mankind.
It's just people don't follow them.
That's
just like
that's
they didn't
our
subscribe
choice.
to the competing newspapers.
Exactly. Bingo.
Sorry.
Stacey.
Jeff and I almost never agree so strongly. I'm like, especially about journalism.
Stacey's now very worried, yeah.